So with the RX 7700 XT, we have a great idea now on how it performs in benchmarks. But how does it perform in gaming? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you on a few different games just how well it does in a few different resolutions. In no particular order, I'm going to show you gaming in CyberPunk 2077, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Fortnite, and of course, StarField. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. We're starting off with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 at 4K with the Ultra preset and AMD FSR 2.1. You can see we're at over 100 frames per second, beautifully smooth. Makes everything so much better.
Target down.
Throwing Semtex!
137 frames per second snuck in there. You can see on the top left-hand corner the temperature of the GPU, the hotspot temperature of the GPU, how much of the GPU is being utilized, and the speed of the GPU.
Domination. Capture and secure the objective.
With you, mate.
So she's keeping nice and cool.
Taking Charlie. Charlie secure. Enemy securing Bravo. The enemy took Bravo.
All right, now we're back in the graphic settings. I just want to show you, now we've been playing at 2K, again with the Ultra preset and AMD FSR 2.1 disabled. And you saw just how good that looked.
We control Bravo.
183 frames per second so far. That's pretty awesome. It gets better.
Off you go. We're losing Bravo. Securing objective Charlie. We've lost Bravo. Securing objective
Reloading.
Bravo. Enemy securing Alpha. We've lost
Switching
Alpha.
mags.
We're taking Alpha. R10. All objectives. Secure. We're losing Alpha. Enemy securing Charlie.
Reloading.
Enemy
Fire.
Charlie.
All right, let's go ahead back into the graphics settings. And I want to enable FSR 2.1 with the current preset. Look at that, over 200 frames per second. That's beautiful.
Enemy objective Bravo secure. Enemy securing Alpha. Securing Charlie. Objective Alpha is compromised. Get it back.
Now if my skill could match the FPS, then I'd be a force to be reckoned with.
The enemy holds all objectives. Securing objective Bravo. Bravo secure. Securing objective Alpha. Enemy securing Bravo. The enemy took Bravo.
Target down.
Bravo. Securing Alpha. Enemy taking Charlie. Objective Charlie is
Whoops.
We've lost Bravo. You're halfway to mission complete. Stay securing objective Bravo. We control Bravo. We're losing Bravo. High alert online. Get it back.
Reload failure. Yes! All right, so let's move on to the next game. Modern Warfare played great. Now, StarField is a brand new game, and because it's brand new, it hasn't really fully been perfectly optimized just yet. So come to expect that and you'll see why I'm saying that right now.
Planets like these are my
I also
favorite.
caught some glitches that I'll show you. So I chose this one because it's going to be a little bit more taxing on the GPU with all the leaves rustling, all the foliage, all that stuff. It's a lot more taxing on the GPU. You can see we're in the 70s now. It hit the lower 80s. That's one of the glitches, a bird stuck in the tree flying around. So coming into settings real quick, you can see we're actually playing at 1920 by 1080 with the high presets. So now we're at 2K with the high preset as well, and we're kind of hurting right now. Let's go ahead back into the settings, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the best settings for this resolution. And you can see now we're back up in the 80s, maybe lower 70s. And it's playing beautifully just like it did before. And I'm really impressed by so far what this card can do in these games. Now I'm going to enable and test Hypr RX to see if there's going to be any kind of difference in this game. Now mind you, that's different performance in every single game. So I don't really see any kind of issues right now. And I did turn off the game and restart it. So going back and changing everything. Now I'm going to put the game in 4K at 120 Hertz. It was 120 before, but I just wanted to show it to you. So let's see how the game plays in 4K. You might be able to imagine it. So we're like we were at 2K with everything set to full. So let's go back into the settings real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and set everything to medium. So kind of like we were back at 2K, maybe a little tiny bit lower, but it's still playing beautiful at 4K. My choice would probably be 2K with those settings. And I've been playing a lot of this game. It's pretty cool. Just one of the fights I had, kind of a mini boss match type of thing. And I just wanted to show you the performance now during a battle and everything. So check this out.
I think that's far enough. Hate to put a hole in the head of Akila's own prodigal son. Kill them!
Apparently I made the wrong choice. It looks like we dropped down to the lower 60s. Which is still not bad at 4K. Just remember, this game still needs and will get some optimization.
Looting the dead ain't glamorous, but it sure is profitable.
I love the way the ships launch and the way they take off. It looks beautiful, and this shows another one of the flaws in the game. The way you can see through the rocks like that. Not a biggie, but I thought I'd show you. Now we're at over 120 frames per second, over 100 frames per second. And I'll show you those settings in 1 second. And the space flight, I love it. You don't spend a whole lot of time flying around, but it's just fun to have, to be able to look at everything. And then also the dogfights you have in space as well. Now, Another one of the glitches and funny part in the game. So Barrett just kind of glitching in there. Then a weirdo kind of observing our conversation. This guy standing up over here by the corner, then kind of, yeah, that just okay, yep, well, yeah, just like that, yeah. And then he just keeps doing it. It's really awkward. And Barrett's like, well, maybe I'll step over here and talk with this guy for a second. So how you doing? Anyway, in CyberPunk 2077, we're at the Ultra preset, and I'm going to go ahead and bump up the AMD FSR 2.1 image sharpening. And then to show you all the settings here, and just to show you we're at 2K 2560 by 1440. Over 100 frames per second. That's awesome. Again, at Ultra. I didn't make the best gun selection, so I got a little frustrated in a second. Now I just get annoyed and forget it. Just go all out. It's taking too many shots with that handgun.
That's how we do it!
Alright, so coming back into settings, gonna go ahead and bump it up to 4K. I want to see what it's going to get in Ultra. Alright, so we're hurting a little bit here. So let's go back into settings and set it to high. Not a ton better, but better than in the 40s. Now we're in the 60s and she's running smooth. Again, at 4K.
What the hell, bitch?
Not far now, chica. You know who you're messing with? Move!
Now I could have cut this fight a lot shorter if I went to the side to the stairs, but at the moment I had forgotten about the stairs.
What's your weaklings? What the hell, bitch?
Oh yeah, there's the stairs. coming back into the settings real quick, let's go ahead and bump it down to 1080p, 1920 by 1080. Over 160 frames per second. She's playing beautiful. Now, not everybody can do 4K, not everybody can do 2K, so I try to show you everything. And just remember, just because you can do a resolution doesn't mean you should. And then also, if your video card is not performing as well, lowering the profile not only helps, but lowering the resolution might help as well. So coming back into the settings, we're going to go ahead and see what Ray Tracing Ultra is like. I mean, it's in the 60s, but you get in a good fight, that's going to get in the 40s. So let's go ahead and bump that down to medium. All right, so now we're in the 70s, much more manageable with everything moving around, interacting with things. That's a pretty decent frames per second. And just going to drive around for a second just to see if it performs while driving.
All units in the area. Disorderly conduct reported in Watson.
331 responding. On my
Not
way,
bad.
dispatch.
The 7700 XT right now, it's holding its own weight. So let's keep going. So now coming down to Fortnite. It's a bit of an older title, but a lot of you are still playing it, and it's a fun one. So we're in the 60s now, and I'll show you what resolution and what settings we are just in 1 second. Just get situated over here. All right, so we'll go into the settings here. You can see we're at 4K with the high preset. So I'm going to go down to 2K, leave that high preset. All right, so you can see now we're in the hundreds, much better. $2K is my preferred resolution anyway. She's playing beautiful. Everything is ultra smooth.
Hello? Anyone there?
So coming back into the settings, and it was kind of a weird thing here. I'm gonna bump it up to epic, but the reason the screen changes like that, it glitches out every so often. So just turning the game off, turning it back on, it'll play just fine. So at the epic, now we're at the 60s, and yeah, it's not as good. I'd probably go back to high. So let's change it real quick. And you can see we're back up to 90, and we'll be in hundreds as well. And funny situation, this guy pops up out of nowhere as I'm trying to snipe somebody. I'm not a sniper, but anyway. And so I take him out real quick, but out of nowhere, he comes around and just catches me off guard, and well, he takes care of me. All right, so coming back into the settings in my next match, we'll go back into epic. At 2K. And we can see it's working great. It's just not in the hundreds. So that was a quickie on Fortnite, just to show you the different resolutions. Now let's jump over to Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor is a weird one because the settings don't always change very well, and this is on any graphics card, not just the 7700 XT. So sometimes when you're changing things, even though you've used that before, you get better performance or lower performance. It's a bit awkward. It still hasn't been optimized yet. I don't think. But you can see here we're in the hundreds right now. In a second, I'll show you those settings.
I die, you die, we all die.
Came out of nowhere. So the game's playing beautifully, and we're not having any kind of issues. We're in the hundreds, and the graphics just look great. So I'll show you real quick. We're at 2K with the high presettings. So let's see what 4K does. Keeping those high settings. Okay, well, we'll get in the 60s, but the minute there's a lot of interaction, that's gonna hurt. So let's go ahead back into settings. And let's try medium. Still at 4K. It does a little bit better, but it doesn't make that much of a difference here. And let's take care of these two guys real quick. Push you out of the way.
Nice.
That's a nice ending. All right, let's change the settings again. Go back into visuals. And this time we'll put it back to 2K. And we'll leave it at medium. So now we're getting in the hundreds, though in the upper 90s typically.
You're sinking. Ugh, gotta move.
All right, that's not the way in.
That doesn't sound good.
Boom. All right, there we go. So I've shown you the performance in the games. The games work great. I've shown you a bunch of different settings as well. That way you can play with it a little bit on your own to see what you like. I've shown you the best on my side. Let me know what the best is on your side. So again, we've gone over Fortnite, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, CyberPunk 2077, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and StarField. StarField and Jedi Survivor still need some optimization. I feel like they can do so much better. They just need to work on that a little bit more, but I was able to show you the performance on that. Throughout the gameplay, you also saw the GPU and the hotspot temperature. The hotspot is always going to be a little bit hotter, but the GPU is the important one, and you saw how I kept that nice and cool. It's incredibly important with this GPU, with any GPU, to keep your system nice and cool. I'll go ahead and link down below also a video on how to better configure your fans and everything if you want to check that out. But with all that, I think the 7700 XT from our friends at Sapphire does a great job. This is again the Pulse variant, not the Nitro. The Nitro is going to have better cooling and RGB lighting and everything, but aside from that, the Pulse does a great job at a better price than the Nitro. And overall, I think the card is a great card. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think the performance is nice? Or would you just go for a 7800 XT? So don't forget to check out this video here to help you better cooling your system. It's important to keep your system nice and cool. And aside from this, I'll have links to the videos that we've discussed in this video down below. This is Iggy with ThisBytesForYou, showing you the gameplay performance of the Sapphire Radeon Pulse RX 7700 XT. Iggy out. See you guys.